بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أهلا بكم أحبتي وفي درس جديد مرتبط ومكمل للدرس الخامس والعشرين، الدرس الرائع، الدرس السادس والعشرين، واليوم نبحث في المبحث الجديد ألا وهو جدولة إدارة المشاريع عن طريق استخدام نظرية أو طريقة البيرت أو البروجكت ايفالويشن اند ريفيو تكنيك، يعني طريقة تقييم ومراجعة المشروع، أو استراتيجية تقييم وجدولة المشاريع أو المهمات tasks. So in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, all loving God, the Almighty, the all glorified and exalted. Today we are in a complimentary lecture today, and very much associated and related strongly and extremely to the predecessor, or even related strongly to the successor, a lecture which mostly associated to the critical path methods or CPM, just like we used to visualize, just like we visualized before and priorly. Today we're just going to have to deal with a brand new technique that actually used to be a strategy and also used to be a technique, a very wealth technique that can bring out a very sophisticated method or very sophisticated consequences for a project, most definitive project and task, most definitive time accomplishment duration, or time of accomplishment, or accomplishment duration, most definitive accomplishment duration, as well as the most optimal duration you can get by using the very method of a project evaluation and review technique, denoted as PERT method, PERT. So as you can see right here in front of you, but God willing only, the project scheduling when the activity times or even the activity durations is uncertain at the uncertain activity duration. The optimistic time, A, we're just going to have to deal with the article A, or even we're just going to have to deal with the category A here for the definitions, for main definitions, as well as the foundational definitions here for the today's topic. Today's topic is actually pretty much associated, or even pretty much try to attempt to visualize the following articles, or even the articles are an attempt to define the following topics, or even the subsequent topics we're about to go through. The optimistic time here يعني الوقت المتفائل، وقت النشاط بافتراض أن كل شيء يسير على ما يرام، يعني optimistic time. The activity duration, supposing everything is actually working smoothly, supposing that everything is flowing as usual. يعني وقت النشاط بافتراض أن كل شيء يسير على ما يرام وبسلاسة. Meme, as you can see right here for you, M, the most probable time, or even the most likely time, الوقت الأكثر احتمالا. The activity time, or the most likely, or even the most probable activity time with the regular, or even with the normal circumstances, or with the normal conditions. يعني وقت النشاط الأكثر احتمالا والأكثر حلولا تحت في الظروف الاعتيادية. As you can see right here for you, the B is a pessimistic, is the time of duration, or even time for the activity duration, supposing there is actually a continuous delay for the task activities. Supposing there is a continuous delay for the task, or even supposing that there is a continuous delay. يعني وقت النشاط بافتراض أن هناك تعطيل مستمر. وبذلك thus يكون الوقت المتوقع للنشاط the ETA, the expected time of activity duration, or even the expected duration for the activity accomplishment. يعني الوقت المتوقع لإنجاز النشاط هو يكون بالمعادلة التالية التي ترونها أمامكم. يلخص بالمعادلة التالية التي ترونها أمامكم. Can be even summarized, or even can be not summarized, but can be visualized in details with the following equations that you actually see right here in front of you. A plus 4M plus B, you can see right for you. Good. Here's, as you can see right in front of you, here's, as you can see right in front of you, as an example for the project scheduling when the time, or even with an uncertain activity durations. The speculative, or even the specialist hospital or specialist institutions tends to machinize the entire activities requiring the insertion of a new automated system. يعني يعتزم المستشفى التخصصي مكننة جميع mechanize the specialist hospital or the specialist institutions is actually intent of mechanizing the entire activities requiring the insertion or even the introduction of a new or a whole new brand automated system. يعني يعتزم المستشفى التخصصي مكننة جميع الأعمال أو الأنشطة مما يتطلب إدخال نظام آلي جديد، يعني نظام مؤتمت جديد. Here you can see very activities as well as the predecessor activities and the pessimistic time and the most likely time as well as the optimistic time and the most likely time or the most probable time as well as the pessimistics are listed in the scheduling manner as follows. يعني الأنشطة وكذلك الأنشطة مجدولة أو مقيمة، يعني في قائمة معينة في الجدول التالي أو في النمط الجدولي التالي البياني كما ترون أمامكم. النشاط the activity ألف, the activity B, the activity جيم, the activity دال, the activity هاء, the activity واو, the activity زاي, the activity حاء, the activity طاء, the activity ياء. Here you can see the formal activity, even the activity a prior or it refers to the like the activity before or even the activity that actually prior to the activity prior to the activity listed here. يعني النشاط السابق للنشاط الآني or the prior activity for the simultaneous or even for the instantaneous activity. you can see بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حياكم هدي الله. كما ترون أمامكم الأنشطة مقيمة أو مجدولة في النحو التالي. As you can see right in front of you, the activities are listed or even scheduled in the following manner. So the optimistic time here for the activity A is 3 as well as for activity B is 1 as well as for activity G is 2 and 3 respectively, listed or even scheduled descending or ascendingly, scheduled ascendingly from the 3 right into 2. 3, 3, 3, 1.5, 2.5, 1.5, and 2. Ascendingly assorted or even ascendingly scheduled. Here the data as well as the data for most likely time as well as data for the most probable time here listed for the entire activities indicated here at the first row of the schedule or even first row of the first and the second row of the entire scheduling system or the entire scheduling manner. يعني هنا كذلك الوقت الأكثر احتمالا للصف الأول والصف الثاني من الأنشطة كما هي موضحة or as illustrated in the following scheduling manner في النحو أو النمط الجدولي المجدول الموضح أمامكم. As well as the pessimistic here is not the pessimistic but supposed to be like the optimistic 7, 5, 4, 11, 5, 11, 4.5, 7.5, 2.5. Ascendingly, of course, is actually, as well as just like we said before, or just like we stipulate that the data are ascendingly assorted or even ascendingly scheduled, beginning from the major value right into the value that accomplished, or even the value that finalized the entire activity rows, particularly at this point. Finalize the activity rows or finalize the activity scheduling rows, scheduled activity raw, or even the scheduled activity rows, as you can see right for you for the pessimistic field or even for the pessimistic domain that ends or even finalized at the point as indicated right here in front of you at the point 7 or even at the amount or even digit 7. An example here, as you can see right in front of you, because the topics we are going through is the project scheduling with uncertain activity times, or even when uncertain activity durations, uncertainty or uncertain activity durations. يعني الموضوع الذي نتناوله اليوم أو الموضوع الذي نتحدث عنه اليوم بالأخص نتحدث عنه جدولة المشاريع. حجم المشاريع عندما تكون أوقات النشاط كما ترون أمامكم. The activity duration or the activity expected duration or the activity expected time ETA equals to, according to the following equation that we actually already stated, يعني المعادلة تعطى أمامكم بالنحو الذي أوضحناه مسبقا. The activity time A or the activity time expected A for the A activity, or the expected time for the A activity, expected duration for the A activity, multiple synonyms, or you can deal with a variety, or if you can deal with a realm, an entire realm of synonyms here, whenever, at whatever language you're actually like to deal with, any language, when to deal with any language, such as English or even Arabic, you're going to deal, we're just going to have to deal with a sea, or even just going to have to deal a realm of synonymous at any position or at any everywhere, whenever and wherever, at anywhere or any place you can ever come across. Equals to 3 plus 4 plus 4 times 5 plus 7. As you can see right here, 3 plus 20 plus 7 equals to 30 equals to 5. The expected time of the activity A is expected time or expected duration for activity A is 5 as indicated right here in front of you. يعني الوقت المتوقع للنشاط ألف هو 5 كما موضح أمامكم بالمعادلة المعطاة مسبقا according to the following equation that are priorly given or that already been stipulated. يعني المنصوص عليها مسبقا المنصوص عنها مسبقا. بالقبل. The step 2 of the procedure يعني الخطوة الثانية من أو الخطوة الثانية من الإجراء أو من الإجراء الحل أو the solution procedure, the step 2 of the solution procedure, which is going to have to compute the variance for each activity. يعني نحسب التباين الفاريانس لكل نشاط. التباين variance sigma squared. The variance is equal to sigma squared. Sigma squared, sigma is a Latin prefix or even Latin syllabus. Here they indicate that the variance is actually going this way, or even the variance is actually symbolized as follows: B to A squared, as you can see right here. The variance for activity A يعني التباين لنشاط ألف يساوي 7 ناقص 3 7 minus 3 squared equal to 4, as you can see right in front of you. Squared equal to 0.44. 0.44 is the standard deviation or the variance for the activity A, which is the inception activity or even the inceptive activity for the entire scheduling manner that we actually used to deal with, or we already deal with, as you can see right in front of you. يعني النشاط A هو النشاط البدائي أو النشاط البداية، النشاط الابتدائي or the initial activity or even the commensive or the inceptive activity for the entire scheduling manner or the entire task given, for the entire task given required to be accomplished. يعني الوقت المعطى في البداية للمهمة برمتها for the entire task required to be solved or even required to be accomplished. يعني المطلوب إنجازها، المهمة المطلوب إنجازها. Thus we can only calculate the expected time for the entire activities and build or even construct the following table. يعني وهكذا نحسب الوقت المتوقع لجميع الأنشطة برمتها ونكون الجدول التالي. The activity A, the expected time by weeks, the expected duration by weeks يعني الوقت المتوقع للإنجاز, the expected time of accomplishment or the due date يعني الوقت المتوقع بالأسابيع by weeks, as well as the third law is representing or the third law indicating the variance. يعني الصف الثالث يشير إلى التباين. Activity A here, the expected time for the activity A is 5, just like we indicated before, just like we stipulate according to the following, according to the stipulated equation that we're actually used to deal with, the equation of the ETA for any activity, that you're actually used to deal with, such as activity A here. So the activity A or even the expected time or the expected duration or even the due date for the activity A is 5. يعني الوقت المتوقع 5 weeks 5 أسابيع للنشاط A مع نسبة تباين with a variance ratio or even with the variance of 0.44. Best ever. So you'll be like the best ever. Best you could ever come across. As well as here, as you can see, the activity B, the expected time duration or the expected duration for or due date for the activity B is 2 by weeks with a variance of 0.44. The G is 3, as well as Dal is 5, as well as Ha is 4, and Waw is 6, as well as Zai is 3, as well as Ha is 4, and Ta is 2, and Ya is 3. As you can see in front of you, the entire variance list corresponding to the ETA for each activity is as follows. 0.11 يعني التباين المناظر لكل وقت متوقع مستخرج من المعادلة التي المنصوص عليها. The variance corresponding for each ETA of each activity that actually used to be stipulated or even used to be extracted or even obtained from the stipulated equations for calculating the ETA for each activity is as follows. Or the variance intels or even the variance datas are scheduled as follows. يعني نتائج التباين أو بيانات التباين مجدولة كالتالي: 0.11 1.78 0.11 1.78 0.25 0.69 0.03 as well as 0.11. This is the constructed activity network. ها هنا نلتقي شبكة العمل أو شبكة الأنشطة المبنية حسب البيانات المعطاة. The constructed activity network according to the stipulated or according to the given data or according to the donations. يعني وفقا للمعطيات أو وفقا للبيانات المعطاة according to the data as given. Here as you can see for you here for the activity A. You can just compare the activity A as well as the formal activity for the activity A from the schedules given, or even from the schedules stipulated before priorly, and we're just going to have to construct the entire activity network accordingly with the scheduled data as well as with the scheduled activities given in a certain or assorted or even ordered in a certain manner, just to go with, and you're going to extract and you're going to come up with a very certain and very optimal duration consequences, as well as a very optimal results for the entire activity network construction for the entire data given, or actually for the entire data required to be found or even required to be obtained for the entire due date or for the entire expected time of the task accomplishment, by using the very exquisite way of network construction according to the data given. So we have an activity and the formal activity and the optimistic time and the pessimistic time, as well as the most likely or even the most probable time here to deal with the PERT method, to deal with the task or even to deal with the donations of task required to be accomplished. And by using them, or by using the very given intels in the commencement, or even very given intels in commencement of the example, as the example indicates exactly, and do everything or even behaving just like the book, you're going to be able to obtain the optimal results, as well as the finest and the smoothest consequences here, and construct the optimal and the very most appropriate activity networks, as you can see right here for you. يعني بأخذ الداتا أو بأخذ البيانات المعطاة في بداية المثال، مثل الوقت المتفائل والوقت الأكثر احتمالا والنشاط السابق والنشاط، ستكون ستقدر أو ستستطيع بناء شبكة العمل المناسبة، وشبكة العمل الأكثر تناسبا، وكذلك شبكة العمل المثالية لإيجاد الوقت المتوقع أو لإيجاد وقت إنجاز المهمة المعطاة بطريقة البيرت. Which is going to have to obtain the entire optimal way of duration, or even way for duration expectation, or even for the duration predictions, by using the very sophisticated method of PERT, or the project evaluation review technique, and as well as the constructing or even the construction of the activity or the optimal activity network, the most appropriate activity network, if you behave everything, if you actually did everything by the book, or even you actually did everything or every matter or every step as usual, or every step as indicated or as stipulated. So this activity time, all you have to do is just concentrate the way to do the activity time. If you, in case if you are feel yourself, in case if you feel yourself, you are required for a further status or even for a further instructions about the construction of the activity network, you're just going to have to review the lesson or even the lecture 25, because it pretty much gives you the idea, or even it pretty much offers the thoughts and the idea of constructing the optimal activity network according to the data given, which is mainly associated to the PERT method as well as the critical path method we already stipulate, or we already state, or we already been through. يعني إذا شعرتم أنكم تتطلبون الكثير من المعطيات لبناء شبكة عمل أو لبناء شبكة أنشطة لإنجاز مهمة, if you feel yourself actually in need, or even if you feel yourself requiring a further data here or even further intels to construct the optimal or the most appropriate activity networks, or even any business network or any business graduate actually used to come across according to the given data or intels in the question or even in the example, you're just going to have to review the lecture 25 already been stated or already been through, just to find the optimal way, just to find the appropriate way, the most appropriate way to plot an activity network, or even to sketch the entire business grid in the perfect manner, just because it offers many of bright ideas as well as exquisite methods to put all the data and put all the intels all together and pack them up in the entire sophisticated, or even pack them all up in the entire to a very secured bulk. Just like we are indicated here, or just like we indicate that this activity network is very just like we indicate that this activity network is very well constructed. يعني كما أوضحنا إنه شبكة العمل الآتية التي ترونها أمامكم, just like we indicate that the activity network, as you can see right ahead here, is optimally constructed or even well constructed. يعني مبنية أو منشأة في الوضع الصحيح. ليست منشأة وإنما مبنية أو معدة بالوضع الصحيح, بالوضع الأمثل. Example for project scheduling when the uncertain activity durations. When dealing with uncertain activity durations, يعني جدولة المهام حينما نكون بالتعامل مع أوقات نشاط كما ترون أمامكم. We calculate the variance submission for entire activities lies to the critical path. يعني نحسب مجموع التباينات لجميع الأنشطة الواقعة في المسار الحرج. We calculate or we compute the submission of variances for entire activities in the critical path. ألف هاء ياء حاء is the critical path. ألف هاء ياء حاء, the entire activities assembled all back together and combined, justifying the variances submissions or the variances combinations for the critical path track, as you can see right in front of you. 0 or 0.44, 0.11, 0.69, 0.03 plus 0.11 equals to 1.38 or 0.48, as you can see right in front of you. We calculate the standard deviation of the path. نحسب الانحراف المعياري, standard deviation يعني الانحراف المعياري للمسار. The standard deviation is given in the following questions. The square root of 2 with the sigma squared. The square root of 2 for the sigma squared. يعني الجذر التربيعي للسيجما تربيع. السيجما هو الانحراف المعياري. So here is 1.38 square root of 1.38 يعني الجذر التربيعي ل 1.38 equals to يعني يساوي 1.17. 1.17 is the standard t, or even is the standard ritual, or better states me like يعني الخطوات المعطاة أمامكم خطوات مهمة جدا لطريقة البيرت, مهمة جدا يجب اتباعها لحل بعد إنجاز المشروع, وكذلك بعد رسم مخطط العمل. After doing these steps are given right here in this topic we're actually going through right now, as you can see right in front, are very essential or even of maximal importance or even maximum essentiality. يعني الخطوات المعطاة ذو أهمية كبرى ذو أهمية قصوى وليس كبير الله سبحانه, تعطى يجب التركيز عليها, should be concentrated right at to calculate right after the calculation or even right after the plotting of the business scheme, يعني بعد رسم أو بعد إنجاز مخطط العمل أو the activity network يعني شبكة الأنشطة. نحسب مجموع التباينات ونحسب الانحراف المعياري, كذلك نحسب الانحراف as well as the subsequent steps is actually cares for the following, or even the subsequent step is actually interested by the following يعني الخطوة التالية مهتمة بإنجاز التالي. By assuming the probable project or assuming the probable task accomplishment duration distribution is satisfying the normal distribution, the bell-shaped scheme or even the bell-shaped diagram يعني شكل التوزيع الطبيعي شكل الجرس. Calculate the probability for the time to be 19 weeks يعني فما احتمال أن يكون الوقت يعني 19 أسبوع. The following step is actually indicating the calculation of Z value يعني الخطوة التالية تتضمن حساب قيمة الZ. 19 minus 18 to 19 1.17 equals to 0.8547 يعني نحسب قيمة الZ هو التوزيع الطبيعي. قيمة Z هي قيمة معينة as a certain value. Z value or the Z value is a very certain value here, used to be compared to the normal distribution schedule, or even used to be compared with the normal distribution appendix to extract the value of any probability that you actually wish to extract, or even you actually wish to obtain for any activity networks or even for any task accomplishment. يعني القيمة Z مهمة جدا للمقارنة مع جدول التوزيع الطبيعي. is very compared is very much of maximum essentiality to be compared with the normal distribution scheme, or even to be compared with the normal distribution appendix 1 table, to find the probability for any time or for any durations that should be satisfying the activity network drawn, as well as satisfying the entire entails given in the questions, or even in the example that you actually used to deal with, or you're actually dealing with. قيمة 1.71 تقابل احتمال 0.5 زائد 0.323. So the value of 1.71 is pretty much pretty much satisfying the probability of 0.5 plus 0.30 23 equals to 0.8023. Despite there is a probability for the task accomplishment to exceed the 28 weeks, but there is a probability to be done, but there's actually a probability or even possibility for the project or even for the task to be done just before 19 weeks is 80%, or indicated as 80%. يعني بالرغم ان هناك احتمال ان يتجاوز انجاز المشروع 28 اسبوعا، الا انه اكو احتمال، الا انه يوجد احتمال ان يتم يتجاوز انجاز المهمه. يعني بالرغم ان هناك احتمال ان يتجاوز انجاز المهمه despite of even though يعني بالرغم من even though there is a probability for the task to be accomplished for the task accomplishment to exceed or even to overtake the 28 weeks. يعني بالرغم أن هناك احتمال أن يتجاوز إنجاز المهمة 28 أسبوع، إلا أنه احتمال أن يتم. But there is a very but there is actually a very strong probability, or even very extensive or excessive probability for the project or even for the task to be done just before 19 weeks, which is indicated as 80%. يعني هو 80%. May God donate, or may God granted everybody by prosperation. May God granted everybody's prosperation as well as breakthrough. يعني نتمنى من الله، ندعو إلى الله أن يمن على الجميع، أن يمن بالجميع بالتوفيق والنجاح. تم بحمد الله.